a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Well, I'm really pleased to welcome back my guest. But I just want to say, like, when I see somebody's on Facebook, I always look at their profile. And some of them have a profile, and then some of them have a profile. So there's a whole list of things that my guest does. Here he is, Tim Steinruck. Welcome back to the show.
Great to be with you again, Nancy. It's been a little while.
It has been a while. I just didn't realize, I'm not sure if I realized all of the things that you do. I mean, you're the owner and CEO at Begin Street Studios.
That's right.
President at Pierce Media Group.
That's right. That's correct. Works
at Big Records. Host, co-producer, director at Rise Up TV.
That's right.
Instructor at Nimbus School of Recording and Media. Anyway, the list goes on. The list really goes on. That is so good. So, and also you're a performer.
Of course, that's the main thing that I do, for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's been going on for you. Let's just say since the last time I interviewed you.
Oh my goodness, so much has happened since then, Nancy. I think the last time I talked to you, we just released Torch of Rock and Roll, which is our most recent album.
Nice.
So that would have been year and a half ago, almost coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
So we released that album, and we've been promoting that like crazy. We've released I think 5 or 6 music videos since then to promote the record. We've done some shows. Did some shows during COVID, of course, at the midway, the summertime of 2021. We did a show at the Rickshaw Theater, a live show with it was called Mariachi Rock.
Ooh.
And we actually played with a mariachi band. And then we had a virtual somebody from Mexico came in and did a show, and we had a host, and it was amazing. That was an amazing thing. We were so grateful to have that show. And then from there, things started to open up a little bit for us. One of the things, the big things, we just got back from a European tour. So I got involved. You were mentioning Rise Up TV, and so I had an opportunity. It was almost just like a few days shy of a year ago. I got the opportunity to go out on this tour to Alberta, and tour bus picked me up outside of the house in Coquitlam. And we went out and we picked up a bunch of bands, and we ended up doing a tour in Alberta, 5 shows, 5 days, 5 different venues. And I went on board as sort of a cast member. And by the end of the show, I was the host, and I was the producer and the co-director.
Wow.
I kind of took over a little bit. And that was the beginning of that. And since then, we've done another 5 shows since then.
Amazing.
And the most recent one, let me see, we did that one. Then we did one to Ontario. Then we went and we did one in New York City, in the New York area, Atlantic City, I should say. And we landed in New York City. Then we did Atlantic City and all around through there. And then we came home for a little bit. And that was earlier this year. We went to the East Coast. We did the Maritimes for a week. And then we jetted across the country again. And we did the West Coast for a week. And then just recently, we just got back from the first European Rise Up tour.
That is so...
and the very first Rise Up festival in Norway.
Ooh, that's new, isn't it? Yeah.
It's brand new. It was the very, very first festival. Yeah.
Wow. So in Europe, what countries did you go to?
So we landed in France. That's where we started. We spent a few days in Paris, and we got some what they call B-roll. So that's like some nice establishing shots. We did the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre and the Arc de Triomphe and all of that stuff, waiting for everybody else to show up, all the artists to show up. They showed up a couple days later. And then we did something live at the beach in Normandy. At Utah Beach is where, so there was 5 different spots on the beaches of Normandy, of course, that the Allied forces came in World War II.
Right.
And so we got a tour of this museum at Utah Beach, and then we ended up performing a song on the beach that I wrote especially for that occasion.
Wow.
And well, tomorrow, like as we're talking right now, it's November 10th today. Tomorrow's November 11th. And so that video and that song got released about 10 days ago. And it's to honor our veterans. And it's a song called Warrior D-Day. So what I did is I sort of imagined before we left on the trip, I went, okay, I'm going to visualize what it's going to be like to be on the beaches of Normandy. What song would I sing? What would I say? And that's where this song came from. And we got to perform it and record it live. And it was absolutely a powerful, powerful experience.
I can only imagine. Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat all of a sudden.
Oh, okay. Need some water?
Yeah, just, well.
Yeah, take a break. Get some water.
This is like.
This will be Nancy's edit here.
Thank goodness I'm in my home.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So after that, we packed everything up and we went to the UK.
Okay. Wow.
And we played 2 shows in the UK.
Right.
One of which was at a very famous club, a rock club in downtown London, called what is it called? Oh, Dublin Castle. And it's actually the place that it was one of the favorite places of a lot of different artists. But yeah, it had so much history.
Wow.
And we finished that show, and then we went. We actually stopped at Buckingham Palace at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we went around there and checked that out. And then we flew to Ireland, and we did 2 shows in Ireland, one in Galway and one in Dublin. And after that, said goodbye to most of the artists and a lot of the crew, and myself, the videographer, and my drummer Bob. We continued on to Norway for this festival, and we met up with my bass player. Flew him out for the one show that we were doing there. Flew him out from Vancouver,
right.
And we had a guitar player come in from Germany. My friend Jörg came in from Germany, and we did this very first Rise Up TV festival in a place called Sandefjord, which is about a 2-hour ferry ride from Sweden. So it's at the southern end of Norway, with our friends Viking Queen. So Viking Queen is a band. You know Viking Queen, right?
You don't. Yes, there hasn't aired yet.
Yeah, and that's right. You did a couple of days ago. I think you did an interview with them, right?
Yeah, not the band, not the whole band. There was just the manager and one of the band members.
Okay, so with Gear and the singer,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So anyways, that was we did a show with them and hung around Norway a little bit, checked out some Viking scenes and some Viking ships and just had a great time. It was a huge success. Nice. And then we came home. So I think the whole thing altogether, the tour ended up taking us almost 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. We saw a lot of Europe very quickly on that tour. It was an amazing tour.
I wish I was a performer because I would sign up with big records and I would want to be on that tour. One of those tours.
No kidding. I feel it's still, I've been home now for a couple of weeks, but it still is a little bit surreal.
Yeah,
because it was so much and it was so fast. And it was so, I'm still going through the pictures right now on my phone and just going like, wow, wow.
What an experience, eh?
Yeah,
For sure, yeah. Uh, Now, let's talk about your band a little bit now.
sure.
Remind everybody the name of the band.
Sure. The name of the band is The Mighty One. And The Mighty One is a hard rock, melodic hard rock band. Got a lot of songs on the radio right now. Got a lot of videos that are doing very well for us. Um, we're working, so we're kind of coming to the end of the cycle of this third album, which is called Torch of Rock and Roll.
Okay.
And people can check that out. They can go to the website torchofrockandroll.com and you can see everything about that album. But we've started now doing pre-production for our fourth album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're jumping into that right away because there's a lot of exciting opportunities and tours and things like that coming up for us that we want to be ready to bring even some more new music out for that. So, yeah.
So now, what do you do in the band?
So I'm the lead singer. I'm the front man of the band, and sort of the primary songwriter of the band also. The band is called The Mighty One because I guess it was 2006, 2007. I had a number of different bands, of course, over the years. I guess sort of my pinnacle point in my career was in the early 90s when I was managed by Paul Stanley from the band Kiss. And after that deal sort of ended because music changed in the early 90s with grunge. The first Nirvana record came out, and grunge really changed what we were doing at the time because it was kind of hair metal, I guess, at the time that we were playing, and everything changed.
Right.
And I tried a bunch of different bands. I could never keep bands together. And so eventually I just went, you know what? I'm a songwriter. I'm a producer. I can do this on my own. And so I became the Mighty One, that's who I became.
Cool.
And, but very quickly, of course, started to realize that, I obviously can't go out and play live all by myself. I need a band. So I put a band together and started to go out and play. And yeah, the Mighty One continues now. So we started 2007 and now it's 2022. So it's been going for a while.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great, right?
Yeah.
So what is your musical background?
My musical background, I grew up in northern British Columbia in a Mennonite family. So, I grew up on the farm, right. Very rural. Closest neighbor was like a mile away. And really all we had for entertainment was the church. My dad was the organist in the church, and my family was kind of like a little bit like the Von Trapps from Sound of Music. Right. And we performed every Sunday at the church. So I even though I left home pretty early because I sort of resented the farm lifestyle, the rural lifestyle. Once I saw Vancouver for the first time, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. That's where I want to be, right? Yeah. So I saw the lights and the glitz and the glamour, and that's where I wanted to be. So I left home pretty early, and very much almost in a prodigal son kind of way. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now when I look back on it, I see that I was in show business from a very early age because we would rehearse these songs, this performance all week long and then perform on Sundays. And then of course I would play guitar in the church. I played drums in the church. Every instrument that I had, I would play at the church, and I got in the choir and I learned about harmonies and all of that stuff. And so even though I had this resentment as a young man, a late teen, I look back now in a very grateful way for this musical background that I had. And then, yeah, when I left, I left home. I left Fort St. John, where I grew up. I left there like a couple days after graduation. I sold everything that I owned because I knew what I wanted. I was driven, and I had already been in a couple of bands, and then I went on the road, and it was at a time when you could still play 5 or 6 nights a week in the same place.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I toured for a number of different years.
Nice.
Throughout Canada and North America, and got a Van Halen tribute band together, which did very, very well. We actually, our biggest show was at the Santa Clara County Fair in California, and we opened up for Shaka Khan. Do you remember Shaka Khan?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we opened for Shaka Khan. That was sort of our big show.
Yeah, for sure.
And just shortly after that, we took a tape, our cassette tape. We took it to the Four Seasons Hotel here in Vancouver. Kiss was in town. We knew that they were staying at the Four Seasons, and we found the drummer sitting in the lounge, and we gave it to him. We said, "Hey, could you please give this to Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons? I think they're really going to like it." And sure enough, we got a call the next day from Paul Stanley. He called us from the tour bus on their way to Seattle. It was probably on one of those, remember those really big brick cell phones? It was probably on one of those, He probably called us on one of those and said, "Hey, we just listened to your tape. We like it. Will you come to Seattle? I'd like to talk to you."
Okay.
And shortly after that, we signed a deal with Polygram Records, and it was a multi-year deal, multi-million-dollar deal. And we went down to LA, and we recorded our first record with Paul Stanley. He produced it. And well, I already told you what happened after that. The Nirvana records came out, and grunge came out, and that was kind of the end of that. That tape still exists. We're actually, I know somebody, our guitar player from the time knows somebody who knows where that tape is. We're actually still trying to find that tape.
Oh.
And maybe see if we can, if we could actually mix that and release that. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
That'd be a piece of history, right?
Yes, absolutely. Wow, that is so tremendous. I love it for sure. It's fascinating too. So many musicians that I interview, they've been through a number of bands, right?
Sure.
Sometimes they're still with more than one.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure why they do that, but it's just something that they do, and I find it all very interesting. I love it all. I just wish I was a performer.
Well, your last name is Guitar. You should be.
I know, and that's what I'm saying, and one of the things that people ask me is like, the first thing they ask me when they find out my last name, they said, "Do you play?" And I said, "No, I am the instrument." Hello.
Okay. I like it.
But it's really good, now, speaking to musicians or speaking to, interviewing people. Now, did you mention you have children?
I have a daughter. Her name is Maya. Yeah, she's going to be 12 in a couple weeks.
Oh, now, do you think she'll get into music?
She already is. She's in her second year of clarinet, and I think she had a Remembrance Day concert today at school. So yeah, she's a natural musician for sure.
Nice.
I mean, she comes by it honestly, obviously. When she was growing up, I'd have her in her, in her bassinet in the studio, with ear protectors on while I was recording my records. So she's grown up in the musical environment.
Very nice. Yeah, I forgot you did mention her, because you mentioned that she. This was off camera, I think. Right?
That's right. About that, she braids my beard sometimes. That's right. Exactly.
What's with the long beard, by the way? How long have you had it?
I think I've had a beard for about 20 years. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I used to always want to have long hair, and there was actually a time when I had like hair extensions and things like that.
Yeah.
But it kind of went away over at a very early age.
Right.
And so I went, okay, but I can grow a beard. And so I started doing that, and it's just sort of become it's become a fixture of who I am.
Right, yeah.
And
Very
the beard goes to work quite a bit. I just want to let you know. The beard goes to work in a couple of different ways. One way is I have a ZZ Top tribute band, so that's where the beard goes to work.
Right.
Gets unbraided and loosened up.
Yeah.
And then in about a couple of weeks or so, I will be starting my 5th year at Burnaby Village as Father Christmas.
Oh, how nice. Well, but okay. My question to you is, when do you have time to do all of the things you do?
When I'm not sleeping, which isn't very often.
I mean, there's so many people that have so many balls in the air all the time, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always busy, and I think sometimes, why am I so busy? It's crazy. I'm in my 70s. Why am I slowing down? But
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, we do what we love, and we love what we do. That's why we do it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to end it there. I just want to
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And stay on camera, okay? And I just want to talk to the audience. Yeah, you've been listening to Tim Steinruck.
Correct.
Somebody made a comment on YouTube with some person I interviewed, and they said I wasn't very professional because I mispronounced their name, and they suggested I learn it beforehand. And I tell you, it doesn't matter. It doesn't help me. If I get my words all mixed up, it doesn't matter. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoy the show and check out Tim's. I'll put his information there so you can check.
Sure, absolutely. They can. So the name of the band again is The Mighty One.
Yeah. And
you can check us out at torchofrockandroll.com, or you can check us out on Instagram and Facebook at The Mighty One Music. And you can even check out our TikTok.
Oh. And thank you everybody for watching the show, and be nice, and peace out. A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.